I'm sorry. You can stay here. Don't worry. Stay here with me. Do you need a blanket? I should have an extra one if you want. You have it? Good. Do you want me to read you to sleep a little bit? Huh? What do you say? So first of all, which blusher do you want? Do you want Kura? Do you want Kura? Or wait. I also have Miffy. Miffy's a little bit chunky to look, but if you want, you can have it. Yeah, you have Miffy. Here you go. Don't worry. Take it. You can have it. All yours. Yeah, don't worry about it. I have Kuro with me. He's been with me since I moved into this country. When I moved, I was feeling like the first month I was like in a I don't remember actually if I told you, but first month I moved here to Brussels, I was like in a temporary place, and I was like so out of it, but it was the first month, so it was fine. And then I moved in with my friend, and we were living like in a shared house with other people. We were a total of 5 people, and it was like such a struggle to sleep because it felt like very uncomfortable because it was my house. It felt a little bit weird with all the changes, and I also had to move from one place to another. I moved country, I moved to one place, and then I had to move again, and all that kind of stuff. And I bought him when I moved because I needed bed sheets and all of that. And it was the best 20 years I ever spent because I sleep bugging him 90% of the time, and now I sleep bugging Miffy as well. I hug both, I'm not gonna lie, but he's a long boy. You can see look how big he is. He's such a big long boy. He's so comfy. But what do you say? Do you want me to read to you a bit to sleep? I know it's hard. Okay, falling asleep is stressful. It's stressful. Falling asleep is stressful as hell. I have the same thing. That's why I'm awake. Let me check the time. 1:56. Damn, my iPad is so bright. Yeah, I'm gonna lower the brightness. Don't worry, my eyes also hurt when I do. If I read with such brightness, don't look at my hair. Hey, I'm tired. I need to change bed sheets tomorrow morning. I have to take away these bed sheets. I need to wash my hair and everything. Okay, I need to wash my hair before going to the office. Fun work, huh? Okay, let me sit up a little bit, huh? I'll put another pillow behind me so I can read you to sleep. I'll fall asleep after you, it's okay. I know if you're sleeping, I'm gonna be able to hearing someone sleep. It's gonna make me want to sleep more too. Okay, come on. You stay down there. Let me set myself up. Okay. Let me do some reading now. So, we are reading. Let's see, what book do you want to read? Do you want me to read you a bedtime story? Yeah? Do you want to? Let me read it out then. I'm gonna read to you Pinocchio, actually. Yeah, that used to be the book my grandma used to always read to me. I think she read it so many times that she didn't even need to read it. She could just like tell it to me by heart at a certain point. Okay, I have it here. I'll read you a few chapters, okay? Because the whole book is like over 300 pages. I also have to sleep, okay? So you will sleep. You, right there. You will sleep, and then I will also sleep, okay? Promise. Okay. Let's start. Chapter 1. The piece of wood that laughed and cried like a child. There was once upon a time a piece of wood in the shop of an old carpenter named Master Antonio. Everybody, however, called him Master Jerry. In Italian, it's Mastro Ciliegia, on account of the end of his nose, which was always red as a cherry, and polished ripe cherry. No sooner had Master Jerry set eyes on a piece of wood than his face beamed with delight, and rubbing his hands together with satisfaction, he said softly to himself, "This wood has come at the right moment. It will just do to make the leg of a little wooden table." He immediately took a sharp axe with which to remove the bark at the rough surface. But just as he was going to give the first stroke, he heard a very small voice saying loyally, "Do not strike me so hard." He turned his terrified eyes all around the room to try and discover where the little voice could possibly have come from, but he saw nobody. He looked under the bench, nobody. He looked into the cupboard, that was shut, always shut, nobody. He looked into a basket with shavings and sandust, nobody. He even opened the door of the shop and gave a glance into the street, and still nobody. Who then could it be? "I see how it is," he said, laughing and scratching his wig. Evidently that little voice was all my imagination. Let us set to work again. And taking up the axe, he struck a tremendous blow into a piece of wood. "Oh, you have hurt me," cried the little voice dolefully. This time Master Cherry was petrified. His eyes started out of his head with fright. His mouth remained open, and his tongue hung out almost at the end of his chin. Like a mask on a fountain. Just tongue out. Terrified. I don't know why I would never think of having my tongue out while terrified. But where on earth can the little voice have come from? Said, "Uh-oh, is it possible that this piece of wood can have learned to cry and to lament like a child? I cannot believe it. This piece of wood is nothing but a log to fuel, like all the others, and thrown on the fire, it would suffice to boil a saucepan of beans. How then can anyone be eaten inside it? If anyone is eaten inside it, so much the worse for him. I will settle him at once." For saying, he seized the poor piece of wood and commenced beating it without mercy against the walls of the room. Then he stopped to listen. He could hear any little voice lamenting. He waited 2 minutes. Nothing. 5 minutes. Nothing. 10 minutes. Still nothing. "I see how it is," he then said, forcing himself to laugh and pushing up his wig. Evidently, the little voice said, "Uh-oh, was all my imagination. Let us set to work again." Putting the axe aside, he took his plane to plane and polish the bit of wood. But whilst he was running it up and down, he heard the same little voice say, laughing, "Stop, you're tickling me all over." This time poor Master Cherry fell down as he had been struck by lightning. When he at last opened his eyes, he found himself seated on the floor. His face was changed. Even the end of his nose, instead of being crimson as it was always, had become blue from fright. Chapter 2. Master Cherry gives the food away. At that moment, someone knocked at the door. "Come in," said the carpenter without having strength to rise to his feet. A lively little man immediately walked into the shop. His name was Geppetto. But when the boys of the neighborhood wished to make him angry, They call him Pudding because of his yellow wig greatly resembled a pudding made of Indian corn. Geppetto was very fiery. Woe to him who called him Pudding. He became furious, and there was no holding him. "Good day, Master Antonio," said Geppetto. "What are you doing there on the floor?" "I'm teaching the alphabet to the ants." "Much good may that do you." "What has brought you to me, neighbor Geppetto?" "My legs. But tell the truth, Master Antonio, I came to ask a favor of you." "Here I am, ready to serve," replied the carpenter, getting on his knees. "This morning an idea came into my head." "Let us hear it." "I thought I would make a beautiful wooden puppet. What a good dance." "What a good dance and leap like an acrobat. With this puppet I would travel around the world and earn a piece of bread and a glass of wine. What do you think?" "Bravo, Pudding," exclaimed the same little voice, and it was impossible to say where it came from. Hearing himself call Pudding, Geppetto became as red as a turkey cock. From rage and turning the carpenter, he said in fury, "Why do you insult me?" "Who insults you? You called me Pudding." No, it was not I. Do you think I call myself Pudding? It was you, say." "No." "Yes." "No." "Yes." And becoming more and more angry from words, they came to blows, and flying at each other, they bit and fought and scratched. When the fight was over, Master Antonio was in possession of Geppetto's yellow wig, and Geppetto discovered that the grey wig belonging to the carpenter remained between his teeth. "Give me back my wig," screamed Master Antonio, "and you return me mine, and let us be friends again." The two old men, having each recovered his own wig, shook hands, and swore that they would remain friends to the end of their lives. "Well then, neighbor Geppetto," said the carpenter, "to prove that peace was made, what is the favor that you wish of me?" "I want a little wood to make my puppet. Will you give me some?" Master Antonio was delighted, and he immediately went to the bench and fetched the piece of wood that had caused him so much fear. But just as he was going to give it to his friend, the piece of wood gave a shake, and wiggling violently out of his hands, struck with all its force against the dried up shins of poor Geppetto. "Ah, is that the courageous way in which you make your presence, Master Antonio? You have almost lamed me." "I swear to you that that was not I." "Then who would have it that it was I? The wood is entirely to blame. I know that it was the wood, but it was you that hit my leg with it. I did not hit you with it. Liar. Geppetto, don't insult me, or I will call you Pudding. Knave. Pudding. Donkey. Pudding. Baboon. Pudding." On hearing himself call Pudding for the third time, Geppetto, mad with rage, fell upon the carpenter, and they fought desperately. When the battle was over, Master Antonio had 2 more scratches on his nose, and his adversary had lost 2 buttons of his waistcoat. Their gowns being thus squared, they shook hands and swore to remain good friends of the rest of their lives. Geppetto carried off his fine piece of wood, and thanking Master Antonio, returned, limping, to his house. Chapter 3. Geppetto named his puppet Pinocchio. Geppetto lived in a small ground floor room that was only lighted from the staircase. The furniture could not have been simpler. A rickety chair, a poor bed, and a broken down table. At the end of the room there was a fireplace with a light and fire, but the fire was painted, and by the fire was a painted saucepan that was boiling cheerfully and sending out a cloud of smoke that looked exactly like real smoke. As soon as he reached home, Geppetto took his tools and set to work to cut out and model his puppet. What name shall I give him? He said to himself. I think I will call him Pinocchio. It is a name that will bring him luck. I once knew a whole family so called. There was Pinocchio the father, Pinocchia the mother, and Pinocchi the children. And all of them did well. The richest of them was a beggar. Having found a name for his puppet, he began to work in good earnest. And he first made his hair, then his forehead, then his eyes. The eyes being finished, imagine his astonishment when he perceived that they moved and looked fixed at him. Geppetto, seeing himself stared at by those two wooden eyes, said in an angry voice, "Wicked wooden eyes, why do you look at me?" No one answered. He then proceeded to cave the nose. No sooner he had made it that it began to grow, and it grew and grew and grew, until in a few minutes it had become an immense nose that seemed as it would never end. Poor Geppetto tired himself out of cutting it off, but the more he cut and shortened it, the longer did that impertinent nose become. The mouth was not even completed when he began to laugh and deride him. "Stop laughing," said Geppetto, provoked, but it might as well have spoken to the wall. "Stop laughing, I say." He roared in a threatening tone. The mouth then ceased laughing, but put out its tongue as far as it could go. Geppetto, not to spoil his handiwork, pretended not to see and continued his labors. After the mouth, he fashioned the chin, then the throat, then the shoulders, then the stomach, the arms, the hands. The hands were scarcely finished when Geppetto felt his wig snatched from his head. He turned around, and what did he see? He saw the yellow wig on the puppet's head. "Pinocchio, give me back my wig." Instantly. But Pinocchio, instead of returning it, put it on his own head, and it was, in consequence, nearly smothered. Geppetto, at this insolent and derisive behavior, felt sadder and more melancholy than he had ever been in his life before, and turning to Pinocchio, said to him, "You young rascal, you're not yet completed. You're already beginning to show want of respect to your father. That is bad, my boy, very, very bad." And he dried a tear. The legs and the feet remained to be done. When Geppetto was finished the feet, he received a kick to the point of his nose. "I deserve it," he said to himself. "I should have thought of it sooner. Now it's too late." And then took the puppet under the arms and placed him on the floor to teach him to walk. Pinocchio's legs were stiff and he could not move, but Geppetto led him by the hand and showed him how to put one foot before the other. When his legs became limber, Pinocchio began to walk by himself and run about the room until, having gone out of the house door, he jumped into the street and escaped. Poor Geppetto rushed after him, but was not able to overtake him. For that rascal, Pinocchio leaped in front of him like a hare, and knocking his wooden feet together against the pavement, made such a clatter as 20 pairs of peasant clogs. Stop him, shouted Geppetto. But the people in the street, seeing a wooden puppet running like a racehorse, stood still in astonishment. looked at it and laughed and laughed. At last, the good luck would have it. A soldier arrived who, hearing the uproar, imagined that a colt had escaped from his master. Planting himself courageously with his legs apart in the middle of the road, he waited with the determined purpose of stopping him and those preventing a chance of worse disasters. When Pinocchio, still at some distance, saw the soldier barricading the whole street, he endeavored to take him by surprise and to pass between his legs, but he failed entirely. The soldier, without disturbing himself in the least, caught him cleverly by the nose and gave him to Geppetto, wishing to punish him. Geppetto, instead of intended to pull his ears at once, but imagined his feeling when he could not succeed in finding them, and who knew the reason. In his hurry to model him, he had forgotten to make any ears. He then took him by the collar as he was leading him away, and he said to him, shaking his head certainly, "We will go home at once, and as soon as we get arrived, we will settle our accounts. Never doubt it." At this information, Pinocchio threw himself to the ground and would not take another step. In the meanwhile, a crowd of idlers and inquisitive people began to assemble and to make a ring around them. Some of them said one thing, some another. Poor puppet, said several, he is right not to wish to return home. Who knows how Geppetto, that bad old man, would beat him? Another added maliciously, Geppetto seems a good man, but we boys, he's a regular tyrant. If that poor puppet is left in his hands, he is quite capable of tearing me to pieces. It ended in so much being said and done that the soldier at last set Pinocchio at liberty and led Geppetto to prison. The poor man, not being ready with words to defend himself, cried like a calf, and as he was being led away to prison, sobbed out, "Frightened boy, and to think how I labored to make him a well-conducted puppet. But it serves me right. I should have thought of it sooner." Chapter 5. This might be our last chapter, okay? So make sure you have to be sleeping, huh? You better be sleeping. I also need to sleep, huh? The talking cricket scolds Pinocchio. While poor Geppetto was being taken to prison for no fault of his, that imp Pinocchio, finding himself free from the clutches of the soldier, ran off as fast as his legs could carry him. Then when he reached home, the quicker he rushed across the fields, and in his mad hurry he jumped high banks, thorn hedges, and ditches full of water. Arriving at the house, he found the street door ajar. He pushed it open, went in, having fastened the latch, threw himself on the floor, and gave a great sigh of satisfaction. But soon he heard someone in the room who was saying, "Crick, crick, crick." "Who calls me?" said Pinocchio in a fright. "It is I." Pinocchio turned around and saw a big cricket crawling slowly up the wall, slowly crawling up the wall, slowly crawling up the wall. "Tell me, Cricket, who may you be? I am the talking cricket, and I have lived in this room 100 years or more. Now, however, this room is mine, said the puppet, "and if you would do me a pleasure, go away at once, without even turning around." "I will not go," answered Cricket, "until I have told you a great truth." "Tell me, then. Be quick about it. Woe to those boys who rebel against the parents and run away from home. They will never come to any good in the world, and sooner or later they will repent bitterly. Sing away, Cricket, as you please, and as long as you please for me. I have made up my mind to run away tomorrow at daybreak, because if I shall If I remain, I shall not escape the fate of the other boys. I shall be sent to school, and shall be made to study, either by love or by force. To tell you in confidence, I have no wish to learn. This is much more amusing to run after butterflies or to climb trees and think the young birds out their nests. Poor little Gus. But do not know that in that way you will grow up a perfect donkey, and that everyone will make fun of you. Hold your tongue, you wicked, ill-omened croaker, shouted Pinocchio. But the cricket, who was patient and philosophical instead of becoming angry at this impertinence, continued the same tone. But if you do not wish to go to school, why not at least learn a trade? If only to enable you to earn honestly a piece of bread. Do you want me to tell you? Replied Pinocchio, who was beginning to lose patience. Amongst all the trades in the world, there is only one that really takes my fancy. And that trade, what is it? It's to eat, drink, sleep, and amuse myself, and to lead a vagabond life from morning to night. As a rule, said the talking cricket, all those who follow that trade, and almost always, either in a hospital or in prison. Take care, you wicked, ill-omened croaker. Woe to you if you fly into a passion. Poor Pinocchio, I really pity you. Why do you pity me? Because you are a puppet, and what is worse, because you have wooden head. At these last words, Pinocchio jumped up in a rage, and snatching a wooden hammer from the bench, he threw it at the talking cricket. Perhaps he never meant to hit him, but unfortunately it struck him exactly on the head, so that the poor cricket had scarcely breath to cry, "Kring, kring, kring," and then he remained dried up and flattened